beginning transmission of Music Bizz Radio. Thank you for listening. Here is your host, David Richards.
Hello and welcome to Music Bizz Radio. I'm your host, David Richards. We're glad you could join us today. We have a very special show today. It's going to be an exclusive guest appearance by a very good friend of mine that I've known for many, many years, and fantastic world-class trumpet player, Ryan Anthony. You still have a chance to be a contributor to help Music Bizz Radio continue to bring you great shows with fabulous guests, as well as our concert series. All you have to do is go to GoFundMe.com, Music Bizz Radio, GoFundMe.com/Music Bizz Radio, and you can donate. We have different levels of donations where you can actually receive perks, including hats and T-shirts and all of our merchandise that represent the show. Anything you can give will help. This is funded by you, the listener, and we love to have the show continue for you. Well, I'm very excited to have on Music Bizz Radio. It's actually a very personal guest for me, as well as a fantastic musician and trumpet player, well known throughout the country and the world, I would say, as one of the top trumpet players in the world. You know him from, he's played with the Canadian Brass. He's played with many, many, many people as a guest player. He's also well known for some recording. He's done some things on NBC's Must See TV on the Farewell theme, if you've ever heard that, and doing quite a bit of amazing musical stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you, if you don't know him yet, you should know him. It's Ryan Anthony.
Thank you very much. That was quite the intro.
Yeah, well, you know, hey, I'm trying to think, what can I say about Ryan that I don't already know?
I don't know. I feel like after that, I got to get busy and do some stuff. Oh, no, this is great. I'm glad we can connect.
I did say you are also actually currently, I don't know if I said you were the principal player for the Dallas Symphony.
Yeah, that's, I actually found a group of people that wanted to pay me to stay in one place for a while, so that's been great. So, yeah, home now is in Dallas. My main job's there playing principal with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, but, I keep trying to do as much stuff still on the side of my own as I possibly can, so it's been great.
And I've personally been following your career since you were about, I'd say, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, if not earlier. I honestly, you probably have known me longer than anybody outside of my immediate family.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
My first professional gig would have been with you when I was in junior high, and with our old brass quintet. I mean, I think I can literally take everything back to that if you want to say the first time I was ever paid or asked to play publicly. So you've been there from the beginning.
Wow.
Here we are now.
That's pretty crazy. And
yeah.
So those that don't know, and I'm sure we have some listeners that do know, we went to high school together.
Yep.
And we went to Grossmont High School in San Diego, California, which seemed to have quite a few good musicians come out of that program under band director Jim Nichols at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, you went to school, with my older brother, so that's how we met even before going into high school.
That's right.
Yeah.
RB.
Yep.
The curly-headed wonder. Well, he used to be. Curly.
Yeah. So we go back. We've got some good stories. Some we'll keep off the air, and maybe some we'll share on the air.
That's it. We're going to have to ask people to indulge us a little bit, because if we veer off course into kind of inside, this is actually kind of a reunion because we haven't spoken in many years. We've communicated. I think we may have emailed and texted and done different things, but we haven't spoken. So I guess we're saving it for a special occasion here on Music Bizz Radio.
Might as well just do it publicly. Yeah. So I feel like we've been in touch, but we really haven't sat and spoken using words outside of just typing it in some type of social media. So. And
the truth is, we did catch up before the show, so we were a little bit more excited before. So no, it's fantastic. So professional trumpet player. We always kind of knew that was going to be your direction. You would, when I describe Ryan Anthony, I usually say he was a child prodigy. What do you think about that title?
Now, I mean, I think that's probably a bit of a stretch. Back then, I would have loved to have been called that. But, I think, and I'm amazed now when I go to be asked to judge other competitions and I see what, young kids are doing now, and it's ridiculous. I think I may have just been a little bit ahead of the times and just did things that no one had thought about, and when I just play it all the time, and everything I possibly could, and was lucky enough to have a gift that things were working at that age, and so doors opened up, and I certainly was able to be as lucky and be at the right place at the right time to get a lot of accolades at a young age and experiences. But I don't know, the way I played back then, it's certainly not, I don't think it's even up to what the generations are doing now at that age. It's pretty amazing.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, there's certainly some amazing things going on from the youth today, but you were pretty darn amazing back then.
Wow.
When I first met you, you were a little tiny blonde-haired kid. The trumpet was almost as big as you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this kid doing? He's playing a million notes. He's quadruple tonguing. He's playing every note clean and beautiful and perfect, and he has great range. And here I am, a junior or senior in high school, mostly kind of a jazz snobby kid at that point, going, oh my God, what is this kid doing? He's killing me over here.
It was mutual, because I remember in 8th grade going in, and my brother and everybody telling me, now, you'll go in there and we'll have to do chair tests, but just so you know, you'll never be first chair in high school because Dave Richards is there.
Oh, God.
and that was true. I sat second chair until you graduated.
Oh, my gosh. That is...
But I remember, because, I'd never really... You were the first introduction of hearing jazz live from a person outside of me, just going home listening to the LPs. Huh. And I remember at school, because I was short and you were tall, and I would just kind of look at you and go, oh, is that what I'm supposed to be doing? So it was, God. It was great. It was, I look back now and I think it was probably the perfect situation for a young classical kid to come into, to have another player who can kick his butt and play something even additional to anything that he can do. So it was fun. So I look back; those are some good years back in marching band and concert band and everything else that we were doing, and pep band, and you name it. Our old quintet that we played in together, Brazania. I mean, we did a lot for a few years.
We did, and I think the only butt kicking I was doing when I actually literally had to kick your butt on on
the 50-yard line after our duet marching band.
Yeah, we had there was a part in our marching band show where we played a duet, and I don't know who came up with that. It was like trying to create some kind of joke around rivalry or something, but we both played a solo. You do something, I don't remember, and then I kick you in the rear end and you throw your arms up like, there's actually a picture. There's actually a picture of that. We have a picture.
I'll have to find that. I might have to come with it. Yeah,
I think RB took it.
Practicing.
It was RB took it. I think it was in one of our I guess rehearsals, you would call it. Yeah. I wasn't. I mean, marching band for me was I definitely was into it, but boy, that was hard work, man, being out there. When I see these kids out there now, I just go, I just remember all those hours of pushing that metal into your face, and it's just like, And when you're a kid, you want to play every note. You want to oh man, terrible.
Yeah, I mean, now you couldn't, there's no way.
Forget it.
No way I would do all that, play everything. But I can actually hear the high school band from our house here, and I hear them out there practicing, and I think, man, I mean, I look back, I loved it, but whew, that was some hard times.
Unbelievable.
But I do think, even as a classical player, when people ask where do I get some of my strength and projection, and I credit it back to what we did back in high school and marching band. I mean, we always talked about good sounds. I mean, you and I think were there to keep each other honest and play well, and I mean that was really good for me because I had you by my side and some other great players. It was a good band to play musically, but yet breathe and be relaxed and be able to project. And I swear, I think 50-yard line, you and I doing our duet there is a pretty close step from the last page of a Mahler symphony that I do here with the symphony.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as far as just my concept. So, but I wouldn't want to stand outside in the heat again forever.
No, playing outside playing that trumpet outside is just a killer, man. It's just a killer.
Yeah, and I'll pass on some of the cold Friday night football games.
Absolutely. But so, there we are. And, we're personalizing this a little bit today, but that's okay. Bear with us, folks. So, we were in high school doing all this stuff. I think I had 2 or 3 professional groups by the time I was 15 that I had thrown together. I had a Dixieland band that we called it back
66.
then. We didn't call it trad jazz or traditional jazz. It was Dixieland back then. And that's, so I had that and had a couple other things. And then we had gotten together and started this Brassania, which was basically kind of a takeoff on a very famous group that you ended up actually playing with. Yeah.
I mean, we patterned ourselves pretty much straight from Canadian brass, starting back in the early 80s, I think.
Yeah, so we started that.
As soon as their music got published, we would get it and try to learn it and make our own show.
Yeah, and the concept was that we would play this mostly classical music, but kind of goofed around on and changed and altered, and we would dress a little funny and dance around and goof around and stuff like that. And you guys took it all the way, because I ended up, after high school, I did go to college, but I ended up playing baseball for 18 years. And I remember that you guys went and worked for Disneyland for many years.
Yeah, we kept going. I mean, that group actually became, we were real busy there in Southern California, especially in San Diego. But then we ended up, working up in Anaheim. At Disney, and of course, then I left a few years later to go to college, and they continued up there working. Then it became full time through Disney. So it was a long run, but it started just us doing whatever gigs we could possibly get our hands on just to go out and play. It became quite the full time group, and literally, that was the same group back in the late '80s. That Canadian Brass was through town, and somehow my brother R.B. finagled us to get on the gig, to open it up or do something for him, and that's how we met. And they remembered me from that. And so when Ronnie Rom retired, 15 years later, whatever, they had kept tabs on me and watched me through my career. But it was that first time playing with them with that group Brassania that you and I started that ended up being my audition, without me knowing it, for Canadian Brass.
Wow. And
so it's really funny to look back and kind of trace everything. And that's what's so amazing. You just don't know when the opportunities are going to happen or what creates those doors that open up, but until you can look back and kind of see that path where it all came from.
And for those that don't know, Canadian Brass would be, and still to this day, is considered probably one of the top brass groups in the world, and doing some very unique stuff that really nobody else was doing. And it was basically the big leagues. We would call that the big leagues of classical music in some ways. And when I found out that you were playing for them, I mean, I knew that you were capable, but I was like really proud and like, wow, that is amazing. That was a pretty cool gig, man.
Yeah, I was. I look back, and that was huge for me because as a kid, they were the first and really the only ones doing that stuff in the 80s, becoming such a big name as classical brass players, and doing transcriptions that nobody would have thought of. And so that was such a big thing. And Ronnie Rom, who was their sort of face and sound for so many years on trumpet, he and Freddie Mills, they were idols to me as a kid. So when Ronnie retired and they asked me to fill his shoes to join the group, I mean, that was awesome. I mean, that was really a dream come true. And so I look back now, I just think, what a great opportunity. And no matter what happens here, it's been a great career in life just from the experiences done already.
And that was, I remember seeing that. And then, because I was always keeping tabs on you, and I'm sure your brother was keeping tabs on me a little bit with the baseball, because he was always looking. But I was even during my baseball career and my continued music more on the side at that point, I was always kind of wondering, where is everybody? What's going on? And then, we had our friend Tim Weiss, who was at Oberlin. I believe he's still over there.
Yeah, he's still there. In fact, and then we worked together because back before Canadian Brass, I was teaching full-time at Oberlin at the conservatory,
Right.
The College of Music there. So he and I were colleagues, and I mean, that was a hoot. I mean, that was to reconnect to that and see him every day going in and out of the hallways. And it wasn't long before that we were the students and now we're faculty. It just seemed a little odd. But yeah, he's there and he's doing great. Doing a lot of conducting.
Right. Yeah. Another Grossmont High School guy. Yep. And so he was like really one of my best friends in high school, and definitely best musical friends. And we used to go and not that I admit to hanging out with trombone players, but he but I just saw that, and I saw that you guys were back together. And then after that, I think after that you were with the Memphis Symphony. Is that correct?
No, Memphis was earlier. I was right out of school. I went to Cleveland Institute of Music for my undergrad, and I stayed there to finish my graduate school. And then during my master's, I got the second trumpet position at the Memphis Symphony. So I went down there and did that for 2 years, for 2 seasons.
Oh, okay.
And so that was really the first thing after school, first professional job, and so that kind of started it all. And then later on, we ended up back in Cleveland teaching at Oberlin, and then joined Canadian Brass in 2000. And then now I've been here in Dallas for, I think, 8 seasons now.
Wow. So you've had quite the career. And of course, I guess we all have like these little things that we did that at the time they were just work or whatever, and then they end up being something that sticks with us. You did the NBC theme for the farewell part. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's after Memphis, I spent some time with Tony DiLorenzo, another trumpet player and composer, does a lot of studio work, and we were actually in Salt Lake City at the time, and it was just a library cue for NBC to use what they wanted, and all of a sudden it's one of those things, you're sitting in the living room and you hear your sound and you're like, what is that? And it was used, it was at the time for the must-see TV on Thursday night, and for Friends and Frasier and Cheers, end of Cheers, everything, that lineup, and suddenly just out of the blue, your sound comes out of the TV. So that was great. I mean, that was just one of probably my most favorite, even though it's just the background. I didn't care. I was on TV, just sitting there thinking, man, I did that a year ago. I didn't know what it was for. And it was just one of those, just show up to the gig, kind of play what's on the piece of paper. And Tony had wrote it, and he wanted to conduct it, and it was just one trumpet and string. So, so I thought, I'll play it for you, and it ended up being used. So
that's
it was
cool.
Great.
That's always fun. Yeah, I mean, I've done a bunch of TV stuff as well, and you see it and you go, oh, hey, that's cool, and then it's gone, and then you're like, okay, now what? But pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I think we get more excited, like our kids would think that our children will be a little bit more excited about it. Hey, look, Daddy's on TV, and they're like, oh yeah, that's great. Thanks a lot.
Exactly. I think I get more excited for them than they actually do.
That's great. And speaking of which, your dad played a huge part in kind of being supportive with you. Roy Anthony, who was, he was always around helping out and doing things, and I think he was brought in as a consultant and always helping and doing some great stuff. So I always had a lot of respect from Roy. How's your dad doing these days?
He's doing great. He's now the band director for the San Diego community band, and they are just taking off. They're close to 100 strong now, and just doing some amazing things back home in San Diego. I had a chance to go out there and solo with them about a year or so ago, and just an absolute great group. It's a real mix of not only ages, but also, I wouldn't say levels, because, some are professional, some are hobbies, but everybody's just, playing great. So he's retired technically, but you wouldn't know by his schedule and the amount that he's still standing on in front of ensembles, waving his arms, conducting and teaching and leading groups in music. So he's doing great and still just working all over the place. The district still, I think, hires him to do some consulting to try to help out with the keeping music alive in the schools out there. And he had won a couple awards for California State Teacher before he retired, and so they were also using him to try to help out with curriculum for the state of California to ensure that music is still an integral, part in schools, or at least accessible. And so he's been extremely busy in the music world still.
Yeah, I always had a lot of respect for him, and he scared the heck out of me. The one thing that he was very good at was giving you a very serious look, like, so what are you going to play like crap today? No.
Oh, I know it. But the difference is, in rehearsals, you wouldn't see him till the next day.
Yeah.
And my brother and I, we'd go home. He's extremely talented, and he found his true calling working in education and working with kids, and then now with this community band there.
Which is awesome.
I'm really proud of him.
That's
it's great to see both with he and my brother, that the whole family, all the music, keep going.
He looks good too. He looks like he's doing great.
He is, yeah. I mean, he's happy, and he's everyone's doing really well. And I think it's amazing when you can make time to do what you love, what it does for you physically and mentally.
And then, of course, we can't not talk about Arby.
Right, my older brother, Arby. Yeah, he's sort of always somehow gets in the middle of everything. Story of my life. He was played horn. I think he was a year older than you in school, but that's how we first met, because I was always tagging along with him before I was in high school. Just we're trying to hang around the band with he and all your mutual friends. But he's doing great now too. He's still playing horn in the San Diego area and gigging all over the place, and just keeping everything going. So I'm really happy with him too. After all these years, he's doing a lot, doing some great things, and playing with everybody you can imagine there in the San Diego area. So
yeah, we love Arby.
Yeah.
He's great, and we still stay in touch. I think we kick a message back and forth to each other here and there. And he's always involved and finds a way to get keep in touch with everybody. And I'm horrible with it, which I think is partly because I know he's so good with it. So if I fall out of touch with someone, I don't have to worry. I can just call him and say, hey, how's so-and-so doing? Do you have his number? Because he's all over it. He's great.
So I sort of hope through him he'll keep my friendships alive.
Exactly. And Ruby, I remember Ruby.
She's doing great too. Still teaching piano and violin and cello, private students out of the house.
And that's your mom, just for everybody. Yeah. That's your mom. We're doing a little reminiscing
mom, Ruby.
Here.
Yeah. So if you went by there today, you would think you were back in high school again, because same house, different students,
wow.
Same age, same instruments, just still doing it, and she's loving it, and she's a cellist, and she plays as much as she can as well. And so
that's great.
It's kind of nice when I go back home, because it's easy for me to just sort of sit back and think, okay, now I'm a kid again, because they're all just still back there doing it.
But when you were a kid, you were practicing 18 hours a day.
Yeah, right.
It sounded
That's
like
what I told people.
It sounded like it. We were like, what the heck? What's wrong with this kid? I mean, I was super into my trumpet, but I'm like, this kid's like, I mean, come on.
I would say I was probably playing 18 hours a day. I don't think practicing would be the word. And playing was more like it.
Right. That's true.
I think between my dad's groups and Arby's groups, I think I played in everyone's group. In fact, I remember in junior high, they would pick me up from school and I would take me to Grosemont. So I'd play in the high school band. I just was always around, just playing.
Just think about all those free gigs you did. That's a lot of free gigs, man.
I know
it's crazy.
But I do tell everybody, the practicing is a huge part. But man, you can't substitute experience and just playing, and just submerging yourself in every style and every ensemble. Whether you don't need to be the best. You just need to be in it. You need to be around it. You need to hear it. You need to experience it. And then later on, you're able to draw on that. That wasn't my plan at the time, but I look back now, and that's so much of what I learned during all those years. Yeah.
And before we take a break, of course, we're talking to Ryan Anthony, former child prodigy and current world-class trumpet player, and that's no joke. We're talking to him today on the show. We do have to give a shout out. I'm sure we have tons of Grossmont High School listeners, the Royal Blue Regiment marching band members that definitely follow you, and we're all kind of connected on Facebook and things like that. So we go ahead and give them a shout out. Individual names are okay, whatever you want to do.
Well, a couple months ago, we did a job. I presented a concert here in Dallas, and David Murphy showed up. He drove in, and that took me back. So, I mean, that was great because we hadn't connected or seen each other since high school. He was another fellow trumpet player in our section. And then I think Doug McKenna was also a trumpet player in our section, and he's still playing.
Yeah.
The list goes on. I mean, there was a lot of great players out there, and of course, we knew a lot in the drill team.
Drill team, flags, the whole thing. It's a long story.
Yeah, we'll leave some of that off the air. But if they're all listening, hello.
we love them all. Them all.
And I would love to. I'd love to find Chris Canales. That's
you know what? I've been looking for him like crazy. And
I have too.
I heard that he was a police officer in L.A.
Yeah,
and that he was also a session player up there.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I heard, he was a police officer, and then I think he's a private investigator. I don't know. But if anybody knows Chris Canales,
I know, it's driving me crazy.
Baritone euphonium, please have him contact us.
He actually really got really, really good. And Chris was one of these guys that was really ambitious. He was super into it. He loved it. He didn't quite have the skills. It was kind of always a battle. But boy, and I think by his senior year, he got a lot better. And then he got to the point where he was like a session jazz player up in LA for a while. That's what I was hearing.
I mean, he was, we actually were in junior high together too at Parkway. Before Grossmont. So, and then of course, Jim Weiss. He was in New Dixie 6 too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So there's a whole.
I mean, I know all those names: Mark Flores, Darren Bowers, all that.
Oh yeah, Darren, I keep in contact with. Ed Murphy went with me to Russia about 7 years ago. I did a concert out there, and I wanted a translator, and I knew he had studied that, and so we went out there, and we just laughed our whole way, through the country. But so it's been nice to be able to reconnect with a few of our old bandmates.
Yeah. So, and Mr. Nichols, of course, and that's a pretty interesting journey. That was. A lot of people out of our high school ended up going to be professional musicians. It's really bizarre. I don't know if that's a normal thing, but I guess nobody really had true aspirations.
Well, I think it was just it was a good group, and I think we all sort of pushed each other. And when you have a good group, you enjoy it even more. So
it was.
We all probably look back and have such good, fond memories of being in music programs together. So obviously that followed everybody through. And what I'm amazed too is to find out how many now. We're at the age we're talking about our kids in school, and how many of our kids now are in band.
I know.
So
it's getting
that's
scary.
what's so neat. Even anybody who was involved obviously liked it enough that it's rubbed off. The interest, because now we get a whole other generation all involved. So that's always neat.
It's crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Ryan Anthony about his foundation and some things that he's working on and what he's doing now. Really enjoying having you on so far, Ryan. You're doing a great job. Love it. Okay, well, stay with us. We'll be right back with more Music Biz Radio.
Hi, this is Arturo Sandoval, and you're listening to Music Biz Radio with David Richards.
I'd like to invite you to check us out on musicbizradio.com. You can also go to Facebook and give us a like on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/musicbizradio. Music Biz Radio is free programming. We also give you a chance to contribute to the show and help us to continue our broadcasting. You can go to musicbizradio.com for more information, or you can go to GoFundMe/musicbizradio.
Hi, this is Tom Bones Malone, and you're listening to Music Biz Radio with David Richards.
All right, welcome back to Music Biz Radio. I'm your host, David Richards, and our special guest on today's show is trumpet player Ryan Anthony. And really enjoying it so far. I think we're definitely going down some of our personal memory lanes a little bit, but I think enough of our listeners were around, and I think they're probably enjoying that. So I'm enjoying it. That's all that matters.
Whether they are or not, we already did it. So
that's true. So
it does remind everyone what a small world that we are in. So
it's pretty crazy. Well, it is actually really great to talk to you, and I know we've tried to get together a couple times because we're around the same areas. I'm in the Raleigh-Durham area now, and was in Dallas for quite a while. Yeah. And I think we've talked about trying to get together. We're going to make that happen. So
we'll make it work.
I need to kick your butt one more time.
Exactly. We'll have to get our old. I think it was Emerald Eyes. I was trying to think about that during the break. I think that may have been the tune.
As soon as you said that, I remember. One more little memory lane. Mike Trokanowski.
Oh, where is Mike? Yes.
We need Mike Trokanowski because he used to make fun of that Emerald Eyes because this kid could not play. Like he didn't care. He did not care that he couldn't play. He did not care.
He switched the horn, I think, near the end. It wasn't any different, but it was funnier because then he was sitting in front of us.
Oh my gosh! But he used to sing that Emerald Eyes through his horn. He wouldn't even play; he would just sing it. And you have to know the guy. Just really bizarre, cool dude.
Yes, we need to find him. Yeah,
we do. Okay, enough of the yearbook. But so let's talk a little bit about what's going on. You have the Ryan Anthony Foundation, and great cause, not necessarily a good reason why you got it together. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this the foundation actually became official about a year ago, and the reason for it certainly isn't something that I aspired to wanting to have a foundation for cancer research. But about 2.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is incurable cancer in the blood for the bone marrow. And average age is like 70, 71. So it was a big shock to our family to come down with that. And actually, thankfully, it was really the trumpet that got me into the doctor early enough to get it diagnosed, so that we can treat it and try to get on the front of it. But when that had happened, obviously that changes everything. When the doctor tells you that you've got a form of terminal cancer. Of course, we say terminal, not terminal, because in the last 5 years even, they've been able to come up with so many great things to treat it, to extend the lifespan, and what's on the horizon is really amazing as well. And so, obviously, that became my focus, and it's important to me to get these things out in the horizon, these new things that we're trying to discover to work so that I can still be here. And that's the whole point of the foundation. It's another nonprofit for cancer research, but what makes this one different is that it combines the idea of music with the medical industry. And so we're basically putting on concerts called Cancer Blows. And we found that just sort of appropriate, being a bunch of brass players, and to call it that. And so these concerts are really not only just cancer patients coming together, but all musicians, really trying to stand together to make a statement, so we can try to get this disease of cancer and some of these blood cancers under control. And so we did our first concert last March here in Dallas. And it was a huge success, and it was really a dream come true. And it started off from a lot of our mutual friends in the business that when I was sick, and they had reached out and said, what can we do? And kind of at the time, my response was, when I get through my stem cell transplant and I can start playing again and I'm healthy again, let me stand on stage with you one more time. And that was just kind of one step at a time to get myself mentally and physically through that first year, and everybody agreed, and I thought they were just being nice to give me something to hold on to while I was going through the heavy chemo treatment. but they made me keep my word, and they all showed up. So many players all at once came in last March. We actually had about 24 trumpet players that all came in, and we did this concert, and all proceeds, everything was going straight to cancer research. And actually this morning I had a meeting with the producers. We're finishing up our DVD and CD, and we're working on a televised special that we're trying to finish as well. And there's now other cities that want to do it. And so through the foundation, that's what we do, basically producing, trying to put these concerts to allow everybody to come together, enjoy music, and how powerful music is for healing the body and the mind, and at the same time trying to use that to unify the community and bring together what often needs to be done with cancer research. So it's been, I think I can honestly say it's sort of become my main focus now in my career, just because it's such a huge focus in my personal life. So it's, nothing that I really thought is what I would aspire to be trying to run a foundation for cancer research. But that's the path that I was given and the turn that I took a couple years ago. And so far, it's working. I mean, it hasn't changed anything that I've wanted to do in my career. It's not. I take a daily pill each day of chemotherapy pill for my maintenance, just to try to keep the cancer at bay. And I'm still playing every night. So that's the whole message, is that now you can have cancer and it doesn't have to define you anymore. And I want to be able to get out there and be seen and let people see that, so that when they hear the news like I did 2.5 years ago, you think everything's over and you're going to have to reinvent your life, and you don't anymore. And the stuff that's coming out and the treatments that are coming out are so much better, and there's so much more that needs to be done too. So that's kind of what I've been doing the last couple of years.
Well, all of your friends and family and all of us here have always, we've been following it. You've been very open with sharing this, on Facebook and social media and stuff. And, definitely, when we first heard the news, it was a pretty big bummer, but it's pretty awesome what you've done to do what you can to overcome that physically and mentally, and then to create this organization and just the outpouring of support from the music community. I mean, some of the people that you had at this concert were quite amazing. We had Arturo on the show. We actually spoke about it a little bit, and he was there, and Doc Severinsen, and tons of guys that showed up for that. It was an all-star trumpet support group. Amazing.
It really was. I mean, it became a who's who from from Phil Smith, principal of New York Philharmonic, to Doc Severinsen, and everybody in between. Lee Lockname from the band Chicago, and anybody that has been around or is on the front side of making some real headlines with the trumpet. Many of them were here, and they're here because they wanted to be, and that's really what made it special. I think that's what resonated to the audience, is that these are players. It wasn't a gig. It wasn't anything that they had to do. They wanted to be here. They wanted to make a statement, and it wasn't about me. I mean, it was just I think I was the person to be able to, sort of the catalyst to bring it together, but it was the bigger picture of what it stood for, and to be able to have the interest to continue that is really what was amazing when we started the foundation, so that we could legally do this concert and be able to donate all the money right back to cancer research. And we're giving 100%. Every penny that comes coming in is we're putting it right back into the research. But there was such an outpouring of support that wanting to keep the foundation going and to continue the work and to keep future Cancer Blows concerts. And so we've just been working really hard. We've got some great things coming up in the future that we're trying to nail down the details right now in contracts of other events and partnerships and things like that that'll really be able to give a whole other resource and chance for musicians to make a statement about cancer, which you hear about it all the time, and until you're a patient, you realize really how many people are affected by it, and it's pretty amazing. Everyone that came and played, just about every person here can say there was somebody in their family, that they had physically watched battle this disease, And so we just need to change some of that numbers too. You know, if we're all going to battle it, we need to change the percentage of how many people are winning this war.
And the website is cancerblows.com.
Yeah, cancerblows.com is the website. You can also on Facebook. We've got a page there as well that you can follow. And, of course, you can also do everything through Ryan Anthony's the Facebook or website as well. But, yeah, cancerblows.com. And you can follow things there. The Facebook will probably be, it's a little easier to upload new recent things. But anytime there's something big, we'll have that out there. And certainly the biggest news is once we can get the CD and the DVD. We recorded everything from those 3 days in March, and so we're just finishing that now, and it's going to be great. And it'll be a who's who as well on that recording, from classical to jazz, from Doc and Arturo to Alan Bizzuti, Vince DiMartino, Marvin Stan, Wycliffe Gordon. It just, the names keep going. And on the classical, you have Phil Smith and David Bilger, Mike Sachs, Chris Martin, all the principals from the major orchestras, Ronnie Rahm, Jens Lindemann, Joe Bergstaller from Canadian Brass, Lee Loughnane. It was a really amazing couple days. That's
for a great cause and just an amazing group of guys. And
and I think it's nice for people to see behind the instrument. There's some real people with some big hearts, and so that's kind of what the foundation and the Cancer Blows, what we're going to try to be doing. And there were several people who couldn't make last March and I want to be involved in other future events, and so we'll see how much of a difference we can make. But and it doesn't just need to be trumpets too. I mean, I've got several other musicians and friends that want to be involved, play other instruments, and so we'll be doing that. And I'm excited about it, as much as you can be excited about something with the subject matter.
Right.
But it's been nice, and maybe it's the performer in me, but I'm pretty open about everything of what I've been going through. Some patients prefer to be very private, and some patients, they want the openness and the support. And so, I don't have a problem putting it out there and letting people know. And, on Fridays, every other Friday, I go in for a chemo infusion, and you'll see me on stage at 7:30 at the Dallas Symphony Orchestra performing.
Wow.
And that's just, people ask, how do you do it? And my answer is, what other options is there? So I want people to know that it's possible.
Well, if there's anything I can do, I'm there for you, buddy. So.
Well, we'll have to we'll have to get our horns out together on one of these future gigs, and
let's do it
with the Cancer Blows. It'd be fun.
I would be really honored to do it.
Oh yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's been nice. It's been so much fun too to hang out with Arturo and all these people, and them say, "Oh yeah, I know David Richards," or look on our Facebook, our mutual friends, and man, I've known him since I was in junior high.
That is bizarre. I still think that's funny, but Arturo, we talked about Arturo a little bit before the interview, a little bit. Just a super sweetheart of a guy, very giving. He's been on the show, and I've been lucky enough to hang out with him several times and just spend some quality time. And he was very generous with the show as well, as far as the Cancer Blows. So.
You know what? I think my favorite part of those 3 days is what no one else got to see, and that was the backstage. Was to see all these players together, and we were like kids in a candy store. Everyone had their phones out taking pictures with everybody else. Everyone wanted to take a picture with me and so. And you think the main, big names of Doc and Arturo and all these, they would sort of be on their own. He was in the middle of it, wanting his picture taken with Phil and everybody. He acted just, like a kid, like everyone else there. It was so neat and so fun to watch. Everybody with the same mutual respect and same excitement of just being all together and playing together, and whatever you would ask. Oh yeah, we'll do it. And the Monday night we did a smaller concert of a lot of the trumpets from the symphony orchestras around the country, and I remember playing. I looked off stage, and he's sitting there with his camera videoing it, giving me a thumbs up, just like everyone else. And it was really neat to see, just the camaraderie and the type of people that when life hits you hard, who were the ones willing to stand up, and really do something, to use our musical gifts for more than ourselves. And so it was probably the best medicine I could ever get as a patient. And so I feel like, if there's any way I can give that back somehow to other patients, I really do. I believe music and hope is a huge thing that we all need in life, and certainly when you're looking at a disease that they tell you is what's going to be taking your life, and that's just not acceptable.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
You use everything you can, and for me, that came to music and the trumpet and our colleagues.
That's fantastic. And you had Doc Severinsen there as well. So.
Yeah. He was actually started the whole thing. We had talked the day before my transplant, and he had said that. And he said, well, anything I can do? And I said, well, Doc, it's been 13 years since I've stood on stage with you. I want to do it one more time. And he said, okay.
Oh, man.
So that's what started the whole idea. And, he showed up. He's 88 and sounds like $1 million. It is unbelievable. I mean, there's no other sound out there like it ever.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and when he plays, it's. I feel like I'm a kid listening to the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. It's just it's that same sound, whether it was through the TV or dropping the needle on the old LPs, and here he is at 88 and just kicking butt. It was it was really amazing, and and the last one out of the building too. I mean, he wore everybody out.
And you've known him. You've known him for years. I remember at some point. I don't remember how I know that. Somehow you were friends with him, or you knew him before?
Yeah, we met in 2001. I think is when we had first actually met. We did a thing together with Canadian Brass out in Santa Barbara, and I had met him, and we struck up a friendship at that point. And after I had left Canadian Brass, he was one of the first that really supported me and gave me a recommendation, just to help get me going, he really believed in myself, in me, and so that helped me believe in myself. And so he was great. Another one of these, you just don't expect such a huge heart, just such a kind, giving individual. And I figured, I'd meet him once and that would be it. And I'm just another trumpet player, but he kept up the friendship and was extremely supportive and always has been and has been there. So I was really amazed when he said he'd want to do this, and he did. He came out and he ended the show, and it was amazing.
Well, while I've always admired you, I've never been jealous except for one time when I found out you were friends with Doc Severinsen. I was like, dang it, I'm the jazz guy. What's going on here?
Exactly. How'd the
wait a minute.
Straight guy get
like, come on. Speaking,
and that's what I was putting together. They're like, well, are you going to play? I'm like, I can't play with any of my friends. They're all jazzers.
Which is, it's actually funny. There was a video for a product. What was it, for a case or something? What was
Guard. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Guard trumpet cases.
Yeah, and there's actually some famous trumpet players on it, and I'm watching this video. Who are the guys in the video?
Well, it's Arturo Sandoval, Wayne Bergeron, and Jens Lindemann.
Oh, my God. Okay, so it's like, it's craziness. And they do this funny promo video for this case, and I'm watching this video, and it's hilarious. And then all of a sudden, what was the line?
He pulls out, they're showing these instruments that they're pulling out of their Guard trumpet cases, given to Arturo, and trying to tell him how great these instruments are that can be, carried in these cases. And so Jens pulls out this gold-plated B-flat trumpet that he said was played by the great Ryan Anthony and plays nothing but straight eighth notes.
I was crying, man, when I saw that. I laughed so hard because when you were like 13 or 14, I'm like, come on, kid, swing it. What are you doing? What are you doing? But I knew. In fact, I think I came to your defense on that video.
You did. You put a link of like, if anyone's worried, he can play. And you did, I think,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Duke Ellington piece of me playing.
I had found a clip. I'm like, oh man, I better save this kid right here. So I'm looking. I look for a clip and I find a clip where you're swinging. I'm like, man, he's really swinging. So I'll put this on there. So yeah, that was what an honor though to be.
It was great, and I have the same case, and so it was nice, and I knew the company, I knew all those players, and so I was just cracking up, and Jens and I, we toured together in Canadian Brass for several years and play now in the All-Star Brass together. And so a very dear friend. And so when he put that in there, I was just cracking up. I was laughing so hard.
I love it.
So it's just, well, there you go. And, but yeah, so I was laughing, and you did. Yeah, you came to my defense. But I remember, I mean, those earlier days, because I wasn't the jazz player at all, and you were. You know, I think that was kind of the thing early on too, because it just, anything classical they gave to me, anything jazz they gave to you. So all those young years, you know, I didn't dare venture over because that was your territory. So I think I got a little bit labeled of that, but I think you must have helped me with my range. So I would always play lead in the big bands, and that's where I had to learn how to swing.
Well, so. You there's no doubt that you've surpassed all of those days. You surpassed the dotted 8th, 16th swing note.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's fun now. It's because when we do all the pop stuff, as a classical player, I think I'm considered that I can play jazz. As a jazz player, probably not, but as a classical player, yeah. And so it's fun. I enjoy it, and that's always what I listen to. You know, you always, I think, listen to it. You don't study a lot, so even in school, doing all the classical stuff, I'd have to go home and listen to Doc and Arturo and Wynn and all the jazz greats. So.
Well, you're a fantastic player. One of my favorite clips is you playing the piccolo trumpet. I think with the Boston, possibly. I think you were playing some kind of big piccolo solo with some. I thought it was the Boston Pops, but
I don't think so.
Something. It was a fantastic. Anyway, everybody needs to Google Ryan Anthony and look for some YouTube videos. There's some fantastic stuff, and you've done some great recordings, and you've had a great career, and it continues. And I'm lucky and I'm honored. It's been a nice ride, and we still got a lot more to do. But speaking of YouTube, in the next couple of months, or hopefully weeks, we'll be adding a bunch of stuff too from the Cancer Blows concerts and putting together some videos and all that. So there's some great things coming out in the near future. So yeah, just stay tuned online. You'll be able to see it all. But it'll be exciting. Well, Ryan, this has been truly a pleasure to not only catch up, but to talk to you about what's going on and what you're doing. And it's fantastic what you're doing with Cancer Blows. And you can go to cancerblows.com to see the information and how you can help on that. And there's going to continue to be concerts and DVDs, and all that information is out there. And also go to Ryan Anthony's page on Facebook, and he'll have all the updates for what's going on there. It's fantastic what you're doing. And, of course, we're all wishing for you to have the best health, and as you go through your treatments and everything, we're definitely thinking about you. So,
thanks, David. That means a lot. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on too. It's great. It's great to see where we've all sort of come through these many years, and I look forward to many more. And next time we can actually be together face to face.
Sounds great, man. I'm really looking forward to it. So,
all
right, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
It's been a very special show, and we will be right back with more Music Biz Radio right after this.
Hi, this is Jeremy Pelt, and you are listening to Music Biz Radio with David Richards.
Hi, this is David Richards, host of Music Biz Radio. We really hope you enjoy the program, and we want to remind you that Music Biz Radio is a listener-supported and limited sponsorship show brought to you every week on musicbizradio.com. We invite you to go to our website and check out all the new merchandise. We also have great ways you can be a part of the show. Go to the contribution section of our webpage, and you can find ways that not only can you help keep the show going, but you can also get some great Music Biz Radio merch. If you're a person or business interested in sponsoring the show in some way, we have a variety of sponsorship packages. Just go to the link on our contact page. Thanks again for listening to Music Biz Radio.
Hi, it's Osnoy here, and you're listening to Music Biz Radio with David Richards.
Well, that's going to do it for today's show. I'd like to thank you for listening to Music Biz Radio. I'd also like to thank our very special guest, Ryan Anthony. I also encourage you to go to his website, which is cancerblows.com, where you can get more information about the Ryan Anthony Foundation and future performances. Thanks again for listening, and we hope to hear from you next time. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this week's show. We hope that you enjoyed the program and will join us every week. For information on being a guest or just to contact us, please email us at trumpetdr@gmail.com. This now concludes our transmission.